Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
Our strengths and weaknesses. Right now we're looking primarily, I'm looking at these gray boxes down below. And I have the euro, the CAD, the Swiss are weak. The euro, CAD, the Swiss are weak. This on the 15 and over here on the 30 and also on the higher time frame. So we're going to be trading to the weakness of the euro, which means that if we trade to the on the German 30, we'll probably be looking at strength on that one. Primarily, and then the strength we have the dollar looks fairly strong, British pound looks fairly strong, New Zealand dollar looks fairly strong. So that's the strength, and there's the weakness. We go to our news, and I see nothing real evident here on news. Now we do see the crude oil inventory reports. That's an orange folder. That's at 10:30. That will move the Canadian dollar oftentimes when you get those crude oil inventory reports. So we'll keep an eye on that one. We'll keep that one in mind. Other than that, I'm not seeing anything too exciting on the news front. From the, let's see here, we have, this is another way, I don't really care about whether that. And May 26th, that's going to be, it's tomorrow this week, today. Oh, where to go? I keep having problems with this one. There we go, May 26th. Nothing real exciting, nothing real red here. Let's see, anything Canadian 10:30, nothing there. That's not it yet. Nothing on this side that's showing me anything that's overly exciting either. So anyway, that's our news for the day. Let's go to the charts and see what we can find, see if we can find some trades. I'm just sort of working on getting this one set up. I know we're going to be looking at probably the UK 100 at some point in time. And right now we had what I was looking at, I'm looking these, I kind of changed this a little bit, see if I can keep these without do so much drawing. Here's my lower 25% of the higher time frame. The orange lines are the higher time frame, and the dashed lighter blue one are going to be the lower time frame retracements, basically, is what we're going to be looking at with that. So right now I'm looking at for this UK 100, we had a nice move down. We're into the lower 25%, waiting for this thing to pop out, switch over the moving averages, and then start heading on back to the upside. Right now it's still somewhat in a downtrend. We're not going to be taking any trades on this yet, but we're just sort of, I'm just drawing it out to see what the potential may be. We do have on the 15-minute chart, we do have more green than red, so I'm looking for pretty much coming down, getting a little bounce, and then coming back up again. The thing that we're looking at with this is we need to get through some zones and just let it consolidate a little bit. So that's that for that. We're just going to keep that one on the back burner. And here's a 15-minute NASDAQ. This is a little bit early in the morning for me to be trading the NASDAQ, but we'll take a look at it since we have a 15-minute alert here. And the first thing I'm going to do is move it up to my moving averages. And everybody can hear me okay. Is that correct?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Just double making sure I'm not sitting here. Just making sure I'm not sitting here talking to myself for the next 15 minutes.
Oh, you know it.
Yeah. Well, I may not know if I don't hear you. Although I do have my little Telegram open so that you can text me if something goes amok here.
That's what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see, the NASDAQ right now, we're looking at a 15-minute chart. We're right up into our red zone. We are looking like we are into somewhat of an uptrend. With the dollar being weak, actually the dollar was kind of strong earlier. So we're going to be, need to get a little bit more confirmation with this. I'm not seeing anything that's telling me to get into this. We do have a nice little all the moving averages are, we have some consolidation down here, but all of our 5 and our 13 are all in a nice zone, but they're coming right up into a red zone. So we're just going to have to bide our time on this one. Right now, it seems like it's been trading for the last few days in between this range right here. So right now, coming up, it's going to test. It's either going to come up, break through here, and come on up higher, or it's going to stall here and come back down lower and probably retest. This would give us, this gives us some room to the downside, more room to the downside than the upside right now. But again, no trade there with that one. They're too much in the red zone. And let's see, what else do we have? Let's look down here at nothing on that one. We did already talked about that one. Let's see, British New Zealand. We said that New Zealand was strong, so let's take a look. Maybe there's something here. Again, first thing I want to do is put my moving averages up here. This will propagate on all the different time frames as I switch time frames. This was at a 5-minute chart. Still pretty much consolidated. Let's take a look at a higher time frame and see if we can find something here. I do like this is a nice little drop, came back down, popped back out. Now, this probably came pretty close to 25%. I'm going to draw a Fibonacci off of this range right here to the downside. 15-minute chart. It looks like a nice strong down move, and we'll see where this thing will end up. Let's take it from, I'll just take it from right about here down to here. You know what, I think I'm just going to go back to my old system with doing things here. Let me put this back up. These fibs are a little cumbersome to try and change the colors every time. I'll move here's my 60. Here's my 50. Here's the 38. Draw my upper 25 and lower 25. This is pretty much the routine I do for just about every trade. Oop, there it is. Here's my upper 25. Here's the lower 25. And I'm saying 25, I'm really saying the lower 23.6. Those are all Fibonacci numbers. That's why I use those. And the upper 76.4, which is actually the upper 75%. So here's our zones. Here's our middle zone. Everything is kind of a magnet coming back, brings it back into the middle here. So we came, nice little move out. It pulled back out, came right back in. This would be my wave one, my wave two. I'm looking for this point not to get broken by this down move. So I'm going to draw the trend line here. This is the pattern I'm looking for. Come out as 23, come back into the 23, make a higher low. And then we have here's the drop, here's a little base, came back up, tested this little area right here at the 38. This is almost like a classic setup to go higher. Here's this is our demand zone, this is a drop. Here's the basing area, drop some more, came back out, retesting the base, retesting right at the 38. I'll just mark this little area right in here. Let me just do it, and I'll change the colors with it. Don't like doing this, but I do. This is what we have to work with. There we go. I'm gonna make this one, I'll just make this one purple for some reason. That looks like a good spot. Okay, we'll just make that one. So right now I'm looking at this. It came back out, pulled back in. Now I'm waiting for it to come back and start trending. So I'm gonna start drawing some, I'm gonna change my Fibonacci. Remove the old one, keeping the lines I made. It removes the Fibonacci on that, closes that. Now I'm looking for this thing to come down, bounce, come back up to the, actually, I'm looking at this area right now. From here up to here. Can look at it on a higher time frame, or lower time frame, excuse me. Here's a 5 minute. Where'd my lines go? Make this one. I'm gonna make these more little dashes in here. You see a little bit better. Came back down and pulled back. This actually is pulled back down into around the well, you can't see this here. Let me see.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see. The colors are kind of
overlapping.
overlapping.
Yeah, they do. I need to. All right, I'm gonna have to make this one orange, I guess. It can't see with the zones. I'll figure out the system I'm going to work with this here. There, that way you can see these a little bit better. I don't think that's going to help. No, let me try the other one. If I have a hard time seeing, I'm sure you probably are too.
Yeah, touch.
Yeah, too many colors for me.
Yeah, it is. It probably is. It really is. Well, here's my lowest 75% right in here. So let me just mark that. Oh, crap. I'll tell you what, let me do something different here. Maybe I could change. Pardon me with this. This is just, it's not working as well as I was hoping it would be here. Move this back a little bit. Maybe that'll help.
Can you maybe decrease the saturation of the boxes, Al? So that
Decrease
it's
the
a
what?
bit more transparent as opposed to a solid blue box?
I don't know how I could do that with this. Rectangle properties.
Oh, maybe not.
Yeah, you're really limited on to what you can. Let's see, maybe I can change the color of this. Let's see if I can get like a gray or something here.
Yeah, your lighter colors are at the
Let's
bottom.
try that. See what that.
Oh.
Yeah, that's I just.
Getting psychedelic.
I think we're just gonna have to live with it somehow. We're just gonna have to live with this thing here. I'll just, if I pull it off a little bit, you can still see where the zone is. You can see the lines. Anyway, back to the point at hand. We trace down to the 61%, and we're looking to see I'm looking for the 1 minute moving averages to cross. We're getting the cross. We had the bounce. And the British pound the New Zealand was stronger earlier. And now the New Zealand's dollar is still strong, which I think it may be. This one right here. It's weakening up. It's getting a little bit weaker, a little bit weaker. Okay, what's going on here? There we go. And British pound. So we're looking at the British pound to New Zealand. So the British pound is getting stronger, getting stronger. New Zealand is losing some of its strength. So this thing might be that nice little pullback that we've been looking for. It came up, pulled back, have a little trend line coming from, couldn't break through this high up here. Still pulling back down a little bit. We want to see it, we want to get everything moving in the right direction. So right now it's sort of consolidating. So I'm not going to be in a hurry to jump into this trade. Let's let it breathe a little bit. See, it's starting to make a new. Here's the first low right there. It broke that, so this thing still has a little bit of room to the downside still. So right now we're going to wait until this thing, make sure it doesn't break through this bottom pivot. See how deep it goes. I kind of expect to see it come back down to this blue line right here. If it come back down to that blue line, that would be a nice little bounce point. It would be it'd be an energy point between a possible trend line, the 76 retracement off of this first push back up. This would be your wave one, wave two, and then the third wave would be the next one coming on up, looking at going into this area up in here. So we'll just, again, we're gonna keep our eye on this one. And maybe if I get a drink of coffee here, maybe that might help my thought process here a little bit.
I've already had two.
So that's that one. There we go. So right now, but also with the German theory right now, we're saying that bouncing off is tagging this 200 moving average. Everything is still pointing down. We did say that the euro was weak earlier, so I'm going to be looking for this thing coming down, bouncing, and then maybe going up a little bit higher later on, unless the euro can start showing some strength. If it does, then we may be looking at this thing to come bounce up this way and then come on back down. But right now, it's got to get through this 200 moving average. All the prices are still above that, and now it's starting to consolidate. We have the arrow moving average is pointing down. This one's going flat. So I'm looking at this move right here as a potential to start looking for the pullbacks. I still like my blue. As soon as I change it, you have to change it back. It'll keep that color, the last color you have, it'll keep that same color until you change it back again. So right now I'm looking at this thing pulling down, maybe tagging this thing, pulling back a little bit, and then it could possibly keep on going lower. But I'm looking more of the retracement from down here, tag it, come back up, and then start looking for my trending back up the upside. But again, we'll just have to be patient and see what we have. Here's the Aussie US 15-minute. Anything there? Down arrow. Across the arrow moving average. Nice little trend up this direction. Put my moving averages on. It was probably hard me saying the same thing over and over again, but it helps my thought process, and it also helps people that are new to the room to understand that repetition, to understand what I'm saying and what I'm doing. So here we have our moving averages are consolidating. We're getting a little bit of a flip over here. This is I'm going to check the Aussie US, see where it is. The Aussie is weak, the US is strong. I want to trade it to the strength of the dollar. So we went to, so Aussie US, so the dollar is going to be stronger. We're going to trade this thing to the short side. And so I like this down arrow on this. And do we have room to the, we have about 10 pips on that. So let's draw this one out. Here's our uptrend. Here's the targets. These are the targets. The 83, 50, 61 are our target zones to the downside. Fill these in. Here's the 50. Here's the 38. There's 61. Let's get our zones. Here's the top 30. Try and keep it out of the zone there. Here's the bottom 25. Change my Fibonacci's. Remove the ones I just labeled. And now we're looking for the room to the downside. So now it came out of this 25, came back in. Now I'm starting to look for this thing to start trending. So we're going to go from here. I'd like to see a break through the solid blue line at the 77, 71 area. I'd like to see a break and close. Pretty much below this green zone is pretty much what we're looking at. And go to a lower time frame to expand this. Now we don't know how deep it's going to go, so we just have to wait and see. But it is crossing over this arrow or the 200 and the arrow moving average. But no, excuse me, it's crossing over the 200. Strong move down, close below on this 1 5-minute chart. Pull it up to 1 minute so we can see a little bit better. I'm going to use this one right here for the strong move down. Strong move down, came back, bounced up, came up to past the 23, couldn't hold 36. This thing's coming to the downside. I'm going to be looking at a buy entry, a sell stop right here at the 77.70 area. Trade, sell stop right there. Move this thing up a little bit. If this thing keeps on going, if it breaks through this bottom here, we're going to be looking at the target. It came back up to around the 38. My target's going to be down here. Oh, shoot, that's only 2 pips on the 1 minute chart. That's not very much. I need to get a little bit bigger pullback on that. When you start getting down to these lower time frames, these zones get very, very tight. And a lot of times you have to be careful to at least get your spread out of there. This is going to be a nicer pullback coming up to retest this moving average. This, you see the green is still coming down and it has not crossed over the yellow on this pullback. I kind of like that. And actually, if we can get a nice pullback on there, we may be able to use this. Again, if it goes to the 38, our target's going to be down here around the 38 to the 50 area. Let's mark it right back in this area. This is where my target zone would be. Now the question is, can I get my 15 pips? That's only 7 pips. I'm going to pull this trade. That's just too tight. Maybe I'll get 7 pips out of it, but I'd like to see a little bit better odds on that one. This is a nice little pullback on here. Here's the low. Here's the strong move down. Pulls back to 61. I kind of like this trade though. That's 8 pips. Let's see where our trend is on this. I mean, we have lots of red, a little bit of green. Let's go to a 5 minute chart. Same thing, more green than red on this one. So this is actually in a bit of an uptrend with a possible pullback. Let's see the 15 minute. This would be, if we take it short, it would be a contra trend trade. Spin this out a little bit. But we did like the fact that the dollar was weak.
Is that your 200 or is that your arrow moving average?
This is the 200 up here, the arrow moving average. It's right at the arrow moving average, came back up. I like the fact this thing pulled back and now it held to 50%. But for 50%, if we can only get to the 0 line, that's only going to be 4 pips. So if this thing drops and retests the 0 line, if it breaks, we probably get our 5 pips out from this area. I would like to see this thing start. We did on the 1 minute. We do now have the crossover of the 1 and the 5 and the 13 here. So this thing may not be done going to the upside. Plus, we have a low, a higher low. This thing could start to trend to the upside, following the strength that it originally was. And it did break this downtrend, so it's the new arrow moving average. It did break the arrow moving average. See, this thing was the arrow moving average was the barrier all the way down, and we had the crossover. This thing could be the retest right here before it goes up. Now, what we don't know is this thing going to break here and hit on down? But even if this the target with this, now this one came up to the 50%, we could actually probably move this target down here a little bit. I'll move this down to the 50 to, I'll move it down to there. No, I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to go right in the middle of that, 50, 30, and 50. This is the target zone. If this thing breaks here, this would be the target zone. If that breaks, the target's only down. That's only 3 pips. And I believe our spread is probably about 1.5 or 2. Right now it's about 1 point spread. 0.9 looks like. You're not going to have much room for profit on that with your spread. So I'm going to pass on that. I just see a little stronger pullback. Now with this one, we have the crossover, but everything now is starting to consolidate. If we can get, again, I want all the moving averages to go up. I can use the 200 for a target if everything else is in line. And again, that's only 3 pips. The range is too narrow. Even though the charting looks good on it, you're looking at the whole range is only 8 pips from range to range, and that's on a 5 minute. Basically, it's going to be the same thing on the 5 minute here. 6 pips between ranges. It's just too tight. It's going to pass on this one. Although the price action looks good, the range just doesn't fit. So we're going to pass on that. Or just reload that and redraw that later on. It's way too tight. Just got to get out of this range right in here. Strong move up, pacing. It's still trying to decide which way it wants to go, and we just don't know the answer to that. It is favoring to the downside, but you've got too much to get through here to make it worthwhile. And I say it's good to know how to decide not to take a trade, even though everything looks right. If the math doesn't work, if the ranges aren't there, just pass on the trade. There's too many other good trades to be looking at. So we're going to pass on that one. Let's take a look and see how our UK was doing here. I'll redraw this one too. I think the key is to just not draw those blues upper 25 and lower 25 too far to where you can't see the price action. Know where the zone is. This one's still coming down into the demand zone, so no trade on that. Still waiting on that. Still wait. Kind of like to see the German 30 come into play, but I'm not seeing anything with that yet either. Redraw this. Let me ask you this: which looks better, these dots and dashes, or just solid dashes or solid dots on these lines? I'd like to have an opinion.
I don't mind this, the dots and the dashes. I like it better than just the dots, and it's a little easier on my eyes than
You like it better than that? You like it better than that? You have that, or we have this one. Ooh, that's real busy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you like the first one. So
yeah, I even liked.
This one there, this one right there. You like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. All right. That's the one we're going to use for until I can work with that one. So anyway, so here we go. So we're going to take this. First, I'm going to get rid of this one, and I'm going to draw my Fibonacci from here. Here's where the big move up was. And so this is where the target zone is going to be. But here's a rally, basing, rally. It's coming down into this area, which is where this green zone is for the retest. But if it can break through that, it's got a lot further down. So I'm going to draw my fib lines from here on up to the top. Get my zones. Here's the third. It's coming right at the 38 right now. Here's my 50. I do like this German 30. We've been pretty successful with that one. Here's my top zone. I'm going to take it to there. We can still be able to see it. Here's my bottom zone.
The trick with German 30 I found is you're going to want to put the stop pretty tight, and you're going to want your entry right at the zone, like on that green zone, right? In this case.
To go up, you mean?
Yeah. If you were looking for an up move, you want to kind of generally get as close to the green zone as you can if you believe it's going to go up.
Yeah, I'm not sure which way. I'm not real clear on which way this one's going to go.
No. It's not.
Yesterday we had one that was right at the green zone, and we took it short and plowed right through the zone.
Yeah.
And we were in and out of that thing in about 3 minutes. That was right at the end of the session yesterday.
Not surprising. Gold's going. Gold's moving.
Is it? Okay, we'll take a look at that.
Yeah, gold's moving. It just broke price channel there, and it looks like she's going up.
All right, let's take a look. Let me delete those zones there and go to gold. Gold. Take the gold. Here's gold.
315.
Let's start with the 1 hour chart here right now. Actually, that's a little too high. There's 30. Let's go back. We'll just scroll down till we see where it's going to go. That's the 5th. That's a 5 right there. Strong move up, pull back. Here's our trend line to the bottom. Here's our anchor. Here's our hit. Here's our. Okay, now here's what. Pay attention to this. Here's the anchor. Here's the hit. Here is the break of the trend line, but this did not close below here. So right, and we had a close, and now this price was rejected. So now I'm going to move my trend line. The fact that this point did not close below this point, the trend is still in effect. It's just that the first hit was a near hit more so than a violation, but the trend line still. So
bingo. If
this would have come down and taken this out, then we have been looking for this retrace. Right now, this was just a head fake. If you had your trend line drawn like this, and you say, oh, it broke the trend, it came back down. Now, it still could maybe do that, but the fact it still made a higher low, still made another higher low, and it was rejected. So I'm going to move that trend line, which would actually be the third hit. We have the near hit, and then we have the third hit. I still consider this to be the third hit. And actually, this thing pulled back, hit again, was rejected again. So this trend line is valid. Now we have a high, a lower high, a lower high. Now this one took this one out, but it didn't take this one out. So here's our trend here. Here's the high. You can see where that was your wedge. We had the wedge breakout, head fake right up into the red zone, rejected it, and now it's coming back again. This is what I'm looking at where for this one, I like the idea that you had the head fake, got everybody sucked in, oh, it's going longer, got everybody in, took everybody's stops out off of this move, took their stops out, now it's coming back to retest this trend line. And now the question is it going to come back up, trend back in, and then go up higher? So I'm going to be, it seems it's making it's up to 1900 now. So keep in mind, last year around this time, or June, July, is what it made its last all-time high of $2,100 an ounce. This is about the time last year when it started making this run, and then it pulled back during the winter months and everything else, and now it seems like it's trying to make another run again. But I'll use this trend line. I'll use this one. I'm going to, I'm going to respect this trend line right here and see if this thing can come up and give us some trending. Here's a nice move. We had some move up. This is kind of in a place that no man's land right now. Let's just see a higher time frame here. There you go. There we go. There's the high. This was back in January. So it does look like now it's starting to retest the January high over here. Strong move down, came back. It's taken this area right out here. See the strong extended range candle here. That was a big move down and it hasn't come to revisit that point until just right now. It's revisiting that point. and you have all these little wicks over here. If it can get through this little zone right here, we're heading on up to the 1950 area. I like this to the long side. I don't really have a Fibonacci. I could have maybe an extension target on this at best. Here's the, like this move up. Now, this would probably be the first pullback. I'm gonna draw the extension from here to here. Take it up to the high. If it can break that, I'm gonna be looking at maybe the 38%. I like this area for a target, possibly. If it can break through this area, I like this 38 to 50 area for a target. This is off a 15-minute chart. Let's go to a 5-minute and see what we have. I'm going to have to respect this. Here's a high. Here's a lower high. Need to respect that. We have to respect the zone. But if it can break through this 0 area, I'm okay going higher. But I'm not real keen on getting in at this point, even though it might be a good spot. Where's the dollar right now? Let's see. Dollar's strong. It's in the upper thirds. The dollar's relatively strong, which I don't know why gold would be real strong at this point. Like I say with gold, I don't usually trade gold, and this is because I just don't always quite know. This gives a lot of head fakes, a lot of the thing is going to go in one direction and it just doesn't quite materialize. But here's the main range right in here. This is the highest high that with the last couple of days since yesterday. It couldn't break lower than this. It was a higher high. Take this all the way down here. This was yesterday's low. Here's the hit. Actually, this is kind of a nice little area right in that. So here's the anchor. Here's the hit. Near hit. Still's making higher lows. But this is the range where it still is hanging into this range. This would be the upper 20. This I would probably draw the Fibonacci. Let's see if I can do this. Here's my upper 25. I'm just going to use that for the reference. That's right where that red zone is. We use a lower 25. That's where this reference is. Let's be right in here. No real clear direction to me. Anybody have an opinion on that one?
No, not really.
Yeah, I'm staying away from that at least right now. I'm
Yeah,
not totally
I've been
opposed.
looking at it, but I don't
know which way it's going to go. I just don't know which way it's going to go. I have no real reference for it. So
I see more possibility to the upside. But I'd want to confirm with like a bag entry or something, maybe on a 5-minute chart, a bag entry. And then because you have your trend lines and stuff, maybe I would consider taking it through the zone. But other than that, I just can't really see.
Here was the bag. This was actually a bag entry off this red zone. Here was a bag entry, but it came right down into the green. So there's no room for it. And when you really look at the range of this thing, you're looking at only $3 range on the gold, and that's still pretty tight. It's still pretty tight.
And that would have been counter trend, yeah.
Yeah. And that would have been counter trend.
Yeah, and you don't want to do that on gold.
So, but I do, one thing I do like, I like this head fake up here, came down, retested the trend line, actually gave us, it changed, it actually, if you were looking at this from a normal standpoint, it gave us another head fake. It head faked us up at the top, it head faked us down at the bottom, got everybody in, took their stops, got everybody in short, taking their stops. So right now we're going to have to expand this to whatever the last high or low is and where the last higher lower high is. So I'm going to eliminate this one. And this is my new zone right in here. But you have the red zone, which is you have your supply zone up here, you have your demand zone down here. And all it's doing is just getting spooling up. Once it can maybe break through these last two little head fake areas, then you might have a shot at it. But again, once it breaks through, you're still into and then you're coming right back down into the 25%. Come up here, you're coming right into the upper 75%. So until it can break out of this green area, actually till it breaks out of here, or more likely I see it breaking to the upside after this 1911. And then it's probably going to be looking at a new high up to this area, right in this area. So I say if it can break here, you may take a shot at this point right here at 1921. Until then, I would keep your powder dry and look for something else. And that's my opinion on gold. Since we always talk about gold, that's my opinion on it. I don't think we need to redress that until it breaks through one of these zones. And let's see, what else do we have here? How's our German 30 doing? Anything? How about the UK 100? I do like trading these, the German 30 and the, oh shoot. I didn't want to do that. Let's take that one out. Watch the mouse. Okay, so let's see where we're at. I like the fact that the German 30 and the UK 100 that's trading during their open sessions. So we may be able to get some movement out of that. I like trading the UK, looking at the UK 100 reference to the British pound and the German 30 reference to the euro. And so right now I'm seeing a lot of zones here, not much to trade on this. German 30, same story. Does look like this one the euro was weak earlier. Let's see if it still is. Euro's gaining a little strength. So this thing, the German 30 could end up going short today. British pound is strong right now. So the UK 100, I would expect that to maybe be going short. So keeping that in mind. So we're both looking at both those on the short side here. Let's go to the 5-minute chart. Came out of the zone, came in tagging the first of our 3 blue lines. We got the close below. In the downtrend, we're getting the crossover. I'm going to use this right here, this one from here. See how far this thing goes. We have this little zone right here at the bottom. We're getting the pullback. It is respecting the blue arrow moving average. We are starting to get the cross over here now. The 5 and 13 is starting to cross on this pullback. And so if that's the case, if it pulls back and can break through this green zone, then the target would be looking at this area down here, which is basically this green zone goes away. This one is the next target. That's right where our fibs are. I like this layer right in here. What's the range on this? Got plenty of room there on the 5 minute. I'll go to, we are getting a crossover of the 5 and 13 on the 5 minute, but if we go to the 1 minute, it's looking at this for the target. Come up for the target. If we can get there, everything's starting to move in this direction. Everything's in the right, green, yellow, the 200. So it's still looking at going short. So I'm looking at this as a pullback. Let's see if I move it over to this one here. That'll change the picture a little bit. Right now it's coming up into the upper 25% of this down move, coming up, retesting this. I still think it has room to the downside, but I want to see this green cross over the yellow, moving down with everything in the right direction. It's not, I just don't think it's quite ready to go yet. I find out that I have a really high probability of a win if I get everything on the 1 minute in the right direction when I project the pullback and then target. If there's enough room to the target, that's a pretty high probability trade. Anything less than that, it's a little bit more compromised. S&P 500 buy on the 5. Let's see where that looking. We'll keep an eye on the. Keep an eye on this one.
I've got a question for you guys.
Okay.
You can answer. Is there certain things that you look for when it appears the trend is going to change? For example, consolidation can be an indication, but is there anything else that you look for? It gives you an indication.
Consolidation is the big thing. On a higher time frame, you start getting the consolidation, and you get after that consolidation area on like a 15-minute chart. Then you start scaling down to your 5 and 1 minute chart and see if you get the moving averages breaking out of that consolidation area. Like, you know, like right here, you're seeing this is a lot of consolidation right here. See how tight those averages are? They're all right on top. It's also somewhat respecting, and we did get a breach of the 200. Let's go to a 15-minute chart. That's where I like that a little bit better. You can see everything's still pretty much an uptrend. It came back down, tried to break through here, and then it came back up and now. So this is the main range we'd be looking at off of this. But all the prices are all above the 200. They're all, the price now is above all of these other moving averages. So it's still going to the upside, but you got this pesky little zone up here that's kind of in the way. And that's a higher time frame zone. That's a 15-minute zone. And you've got 1, 2, 3 zones. So it would have to break through all 3 of those before it's going to penetrate even higher still. And this, I believe, is probably, I don't know if this was an all-time high or not. Let's see here. And it pretty much is an all-time high right in this area. Those are all-time highs.
Sometimes candle formations too, I guess, if you follow them.
Yeah, absolutely, candle formations. Let's see the SP. So this is the last high. This is the last previous low. We have everything's in it right now. The price is going sideways in between this point and this point. Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Up here we have a lower high, broke down. Now it's retesting this area up into the upper part. So what I'd be looking at my Fibonacci. You can see this is where the high was, the all-time high. I'd be looking at the Fibonacci going from here to here. And right now we're in the upper Right now we have a 76% pullback off this down move. It's retraced 76.4%. Actually, it's retraced 88% of the down move. And it's given us a little, so the sellers are starting to come in right in this area. You can see it came right up to that 88. Sellers came in, pushed it back down. And right now it's in between this little area. So here's your little wedge. This is strong move up. Here's your little wedge right up in here. Draw that. There's your wedge there. There's your wedge. Now I'm on a 1 hour, let's see, actually I'm on a 4 hour chart right now. Go down to a 1 hour chart, you'll see this same thing. You can tweak a little bit because of the different time frames. But right now it's consolidating in beside here, and we have everything's moving up, crossed over, tested, going higher. I would expect if it breaks this, it's going to retest this one down here. That would give us about a $27 move, which would be a nice little move to the downside. But we also know that it's coming up, it's right up near the top of the last significant high. And what we're trying to do, and if this thing does decide to break for the long haul, this would be a nice area to try and catch it when you know that it can't break the last previous all-time high. It's going to break. We just don't know when. It could be today. It could be 6 months from now. But it would be nice to be able to catch that move. And more than likely, you're not going to catch it right at the top, right at the bottom. But you wouldn't be able to catch the major trend when it does start to really break. But usually what happens is when these things break really hard, it's going to drop a couple hundred points in one day. And then you know it's serious. But right now, it's still kind of in an uptrend. Right now, I'm just looking for pullbacks. I'd like to see a little bit more of a pullback from this area. I would prefer to try and catch it long down here than trying to catch it short going down to this area. Because the overall trend is up. 5-minute chart. All these green zones right here, would have to go through all those green zones in order to get higher. Just adjust this a little bit if I can. Tweak that. Catch that low right in here. Here's the low. Tweak that one. It is trying to break out of the bottom. Not seeing anything real tradable today. Here's the anchor's way back here. Here's the first near hit. Again, this is the same scenario we had talked about earlier. Here's the near hit. Here's the hit. Came back up. Hold that trend line off of that. Had a little bit of a fake out, but it has a higher. Here's a low. Here's still a higher low. It broke and then went right back up into the wedge. That's when the value one. Here's the same thing here. Here's a hit. Pulled back up, came back down, broke the trend line, back into the wedge. Still made a higher low. I'll pull it back a little bit more. We just know that the buyers are still coming in this green zone. It's having a hard time penetrating. In fact, you see it's getting, every time it comes into the zone, it leaves the zone, comes back in, doesn't go in quite as deep. This thing's looking like it may want to be going more to the upside as the buyers come in. It's still range bound right now. And the range between the high and the low right now, it's just getting smaller and smaller. That's a $65 move. Is that right? Yep. No. $6 move. That's a $6 move in the range. I'd like to see at least, again, I like to see, on the indexes, I like to see at least a $10 range before I try and get in, trying to get $5 out of it. It's going to be a little bit tight. And we don't have any real clear direction. It's just going sideways, getting more narrow. Each time it goes up high, it's making a lower high. Each time it comes down low, it's making a higher low. And eventually it's going to break out, but you have basically it's going to break out of this red zone here, this green zone. And once it breaks out of this green zone, it's got another one sitting here, right here at the bottom. And that's coming right back into the lower 25. Yes, Eva.
People are asking if you can check gold. Apparently it's moving. You had just looked at gold.
Sure.
It,
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah,
Is it
gold
breaking
is
out? Oh,
moving.
yeah.
DAX is moving hard in the same direction as gold.
Okay. Well, let's see, 55-minute chart. Let's take a look at the 1 minute chart here. Let's get our moving averages on here. This may be a possible trade, possibly, if it's breaking out this hard. Everything's in the right direction on the 5. Let's see, 15, where's the 15? Yep, I think we could be getting something here. We already had this little head fakes. And see what our strength meters are, what it's saying, see what the dollar is doing. Dollar is strong, strong, strong. You can go by that one. I'm not sure the gold really follows the strength and weakness of the dollar anymore.
no, it seems to be kind of going rogue lately.
Yeah.
They all are.
Let's see if we have a range here. Let's see, we never really got a pullback. Let's find our zone. There's our zone. And pull back here to around. I would say that this would be the first target area. If it can break through that red zone, be looking at the target area. We're looking at this area right in here. Go to a 5-minute chart and see what we got. I'll take a shot at this one. I'm going to take a lot, though. I'll go 0.05 on this one. Oops, that's too much. 0.05. That's not right either. Come on. 0. That's better. And we got a buy. I'm going to take this down to 703. I'm going to take this one a little bit higher up here. I'm going to take it right. I'm going to have my target right between my ultimate target and halfway in between this line and this line. We do have an arrow. Here's a bounce arrow. Go, and the go is coming up to, we really don't have a upper target on this one right now. So right now the sky's the limit. You notice how we kind of waited. So all the moving averages are pulled back. We had a nice little pullback right here. If I take it from this is a pullback from this push up to this pulled back to the 23, broke the 23, couldn't hold it. Now we'd be looking at pretty much the 23, which is about halfway between the 0 and the 38. So so I'm okay with. I'd be a little bit early before the 38. That's where my target is. Here was the ultimate target from the bigger move.
Look at the.
It's kind of where it broke. This is where it broke out of the zone right in there. Yeah, Matt, go ahead.
Look at the move. Look at the gap between your moving averages.
It's starting to widen here.
Yeah, as it widens out, it means it has more and more momentum to that direction.
Yeah.
So you're looking for, even if you drew a wedge in some way, shape, or form, you'd probably be able to identify kind of a future target. But right now, it's gone. So
yeah, right now you can actually probably track it with the moving. I would use the arrow moving average as your stop area on this one. I can probably move my stop. Wait, where's my stop? Where did I put my stop? I'll put my stop probably somewhere. I can probably keep it right now at least below the 23.6. So that's price wise on that is 1903. And my stop, that's right where my stop is right on that line. That's why I can't see it. And probably move it up a little bit higher. As long as right now, if you can keep it below the 200 moving average, that should give you enough room for the pullback. If it decides to pull back hard, even. So I'm going to put it right about this 1908. I like seeing where it is. Green line was my entry. Here's my target. And just let this one breathe a little bit. Now, as we have this strong move up, I'm going to move my Fibonacci. If I can find my fibs. We already marked our target. Here's the last zone that needs to. That was the last pullback, a significant pullback. Now, as this thing keeps going up higher, I'm going to keep moving the top of this Fibonacci up, looking for where my retracement is going to be. So right now, as long as if it retraces back to the 23 or the 38, I could be looking at maybe adding to a position, as long as everything stays the same. If this green one comes back, pulls back down, the yellow one comes up, but the green doesn't cross the yellow moving average, with a nice little pullback with a wick and a no close below. If it wicks below the 23, I'm still good, and then starts moving back up. If it wicks down below the 38, I would maybe try and take another entry at the 23. So right now it's just in a nice little uptrend, move it up. Here's our little wedge. Here's a low, higher low, higher low. Here's our trend line. And I like this pullback where this one came back pretty deep, but couldn't break that one. I like this trend line right here. And that still holds in line with this one, even if I take it all the way down. I also like where we had this trend here. It came back up, fake down, and now broke this trend line is still holding basically. This went a little bit deeper. I actually have two lines. I can use it like two lines on this one from there to this channel. This would be like a lower channel. If it comes back down into this channel, you're still good to maybe take another shot, which would be at the 38 to the 50. Meanwhile, this thing's still kind of moving its way up. This is relatively strong. If we use a Fibonacci from the last point where it broke, this was the last pullback, and this is where it broke. So then this pullback is all the way down here to the 61. We could probably use the 61 for a target on the upper side here. Move this one down a little bit. This might have been a little bit aggressive. That one down right about in there. You don't want to get greedy on these trades. Strong move up. Here's the pullback. Pull back to the 61. Pullback close and start breaking. Broke here. 61 to 50 area seems like a good area to be looking at, and that's going to be right about this area right in here. I'm going to move my target down a little bit. And so we have everything all set. We'll just watch for a new, that's a 5. Let's see where the 1 minute goes. It's starting to flatten out a little bit right in here. Nice rally. Could get a little basing here and another rally. And so while we're waiting for that, we'll take a look for some more. We don't have to keep watching this until we have our target set, we have our stop set, and we'll just keep an eye on it and either get our target or we get out of it before then. Nothing there. German 30 on the 5. Let's see what that's doing. That's kind of following the gold here a little bit. And maybe something to consider. Oh, moving averages. Let's see where we're at with the template. Everything's moved. Well, we're not quite in all the right direction yet. We are getting some crosses, but we have a little bit of consolidation. We still have to get through this. That's on the 5. How about the 15? Where's that one doing? 15 is consolidating. It's trying to break through. Nice down move. Here's a pullback. This could be a pullback to come retest the low here. It is in a downtrend. Here's about trying to cross over the yellow cross and the green cross and the yellow. That's on 15. It's probably already crossed on the 5, which it is. We still have the 200. I'm looking at to come back up from this move down. Here's our 200. Here's our 61. This is an energy point right in here. If it comes up to the 61, wicks up, cannot cross and close, and we're looking to come back down and maybe retest this lower part. So right now I'm looking at this thing, still pretty much looking at more to the downside. And I'm looking at, here's our energy point. And see how deep it comes up. If it only comes up to the 50, then we know we can move this thing down. Actually, any place, we got the close above the 38, which makes me think this thing could come up and retest the 50. Once it closed above the 50, it could retest, maybe break above the 61. But right now, it did not close above the 50. Here's my zone for right now.
Oh, I gotta step out for a couple minutes.
Okay.
Looks like I'll be doing part of the New York session or something because I've got a meeting for work at 10 o'clock, so it'll probably be a pretty short New York session. I was considering canceling it, but it was a last minute meeting there.
Okay, well, if unfortunately I won't be able to go over to help you out today because I've got some other commitments after this session here. But
Oh, no,
or else
fine.
I'd go jump over there and give you a hand. But
Yeah.
at least you're starting it out. At least you're getting it started anyway. That's a good thing.
Well, I'll get it started. We'll see what goes on, and then we'll play it out. All right, cool. We'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later,
All right.
Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
See you guys soon.
So keep an eye on our boy, gold just retrace a little bit. Still profitable in the gold. German 30 is still coming up. I'm still more inclined to see this thing pull up and then curl back around for maybe a short on the German 30. Keep an eye on the gold. This big little wick going up there. So here's our, let's take a look at our Fibonacci's on this one. Where do we go? Where's the upper part of the zero line? So here's the gold. Here's our high. Here's our origin of this up move. Now look and see how far it's going to pull back. Here was where we entered the trade. This thing could pull back right into where we were about break even. Still in an uptrend. We're watching to see how this green moving average if it can cross over the yellow, that means it could go a little bit deeper. I would still be looking at this as a support area for the pullback. I could see where you could possibly maybe either not worry about your position or maybe even add to a position down and around in this area. I'll take it from here and I'll move it up. I'd like to see it about halfway up. I see it come into the 23, wick down, come back up. Actually, even if it's ideally, I'd see a wick down into the 30, 38 one on this pullback. If I still believe in it being a long. Wick down into 38, wicks down, closes above the 38, and then try and take another position maybe at the 23, which is right where we got in at the first place. So we're taking a little bit of heat on this. But this is a nice move up. Now we're looking for the pullback. Right now, a lot of people are starting to get out of it because they're getting shaken out. They're hitting their stops. They had their stops all the way up. We're just still right at break even. Here's the 23. Here's the wick. We'll see if it can close below or above the 23. This is a key point right now. I still like this zone for a target. Let's go back to the German 30 while we're meandering with this. Here's the wick up to the 50, wicked up, couldn't get close above the 50. Going to my 1 minute chart, looking for the crossover of the 5 and 13. Starting to cross over. We have all this moving averages up to the upside. So I'm looking at this being maybe a pullback. It's got to get through. It's got to be, I want to see the price be below the arrow and the 200 moving average, ideally. I can have it be above the, I can have it be below the arrow, but maybe above the 200. If the 200 looks like it's going to break through. But right now, this thing's still in an uptrend. With just a pull, this is just a pullback right now. Here's our upper 25%. Oh, is that our target zone? 25% zone. That was our target zone. Check on gold here. There's a strong move down. There's the push down below the 38 into our blue zone here. It's coming in to challenge our stop right now. This is a very strong pullback, but it's still within the 50%. Actually, I'm going to keep this thing down below the 60, usually 60% pullback. I'm going to just move that down a little bit out of harm's way. I'd like to keep it below the 200, keep it below the trend line. Because right, I'm looking at this as being just a strong pullback as opposed to being a reversal. Let's see what it does with this 50% line. Closed below the 30 and it hasn't pulled back yet. Gold takes no prisoners. Right there, it's right there. That's the close. It's closed right at the 50. Now it's bouncing back up. Once I get this green back crossing back over the yellow, I could take another possible position. It's going to probably have to flatten out a little bit first. We have such a strong pullback. This thing's pulling back to almost 61%, but it's pulling right back to this trend line, pulling right back to the 200 movement. This is an energy point right in here. We'll see how this thing closes out. What time is it here? 48. Has been another minute on this 5 minute. We were profitable. Now we're taking a little bit of heat on this. Here's where this is the high that it broke right over here. This was the high that it broke on the upside. Here's where we got the up arrow. That's a nice little wick right down here to 61. Respect to the 200 moving average. I want to see this 5 period EMA, exponential moving average. I want to see it start curling up. At this point, I'd like to see it close above the 38 to come back and retest the high that just made. Just got a down arrow on the 1 minute. Right now, I would like to see it close Before I would take another position to the upside, I want to see it close above this blue range. I want to see it close above this 38. Until then, it's still heading down, and it may stop us out. We still have a little bit of a barrier here. It may come back down and retest this area into the 78 area. This is our lower 25% of this big up move. Came down to the 61, did not close below the 61. And if it closes below this trend line, I'm out. If it takes me out and comes back down, then I can always get back in again, but this is where my stop's going to be. I'm going to see it hold. I'm going to see this trend line hold. Yellow line still pointing down. The green one's still pointing down, trying to curl over. So this is our 1 minute chart that we're looking at. This is as micro managing as you can possibly make a trade. Bounced off the 200. Still didn't take my stop out. Remember, this was that channel that we had with the two moving averages where we had the higher lows. We had that low, the beach, which was right, no, I see, it's probably right around in this area. We had the two trend line. This is another upward channel. It's an ascending channel. I would not be surprised to see it come in, take my stop, turn around, and then come back out of the channel, head back on up again. This thing could still possibly be a long, even if it comes down to the 76 area. This would be the lower 25%. But it's got to close below the 61. If it closes below 61, I'm out of this trade and wait for a reversal. If it doesn't break the trend line, I could possibly get in. Again, this is the area where this arrow, moving average arrow, pointed down, so to go short. That was on a 1 minute. We may get one. I'd like to see an arrow, the arrow moving average or the arrow alert, give me an up arrow. That would signify the end of this pullback. It does have the strength to the upside. Any questions? This is an interesting one to trade. It's got a lot of volatility to it. You kind of need to trade this one with small positions because of these big moves like this. You know, there's our zone. Now, if I can get another position long down here, I could use this for my target and I could be break even on both my trades. But I don't know that's going to give me that opportunity. Again, I can't take it long until I get the green crossing over the yellow and closing. That's part of my rules. You see right now where it's basing right here. That's the same area that it broke out of the top. If I move this area, if I move this over here, so you're looking at the same basic zones.
Hey,
Gonna break. Oh, you're back.
so one last update. So yeah, there is someone who's going to take the call for New York. So
Oh,
it's
good.
fun and interesting, and they will be doing it for the next couple weeks for Wednesday
All
and
right.
Thursday.
Who is it?
Dude,
Not announced. You'll have to see.
Well, I'm not going in there. I want
Well,
to know who it is first.
oh well. Anyway, so we should bail.
okay. All right, Matt. Yeah, we should always, yeah, that's right. We're
Yeah.
going to set our time here.
Call's gonna get cut off at 9.
Okay, all right. Okay,
Cool, guys.
All right. We'll wrap this thing up. We got two. Well, keep an eye on this trade. If it breaks through this trend line, you may have another shot at it. I think because I think it breaks through here, it could probably bounce off the 78 or this lower zone. But right now, it's like a magnet coming back into this blue zone. There's up, comes back down, come back down, come back up again. So that's how I'd be playing this one. So with that, since we are going to have a couple minutes to give you guys a chance to get logged out and logged back into the other zone, I appreciate everybody coming in. Any last minute questions before we take off here?
There's nothing.
Hopefully this trade will work out for us. We're taking some heat on it, but I would say right now it's trading inside this range where the Fibonacci's are, upper 25% and lower 25%. So I'd be careful with. I said if it takes my stop, I'm going to let it take my stop, but I may have a chance to get back in at a little better position and recoup that loss there. So with that, have a good day, and we'll see everybody tomorrow.
Okay, everybody have a great day. See y'all tomorrow.